Hello, and welcome to our video on fuel economy for grade 12 essential math and our vehicle finance unit. Fuel economy is asking how much gas does your car use to drive a certain distance. Now, in Manitoba and in Canada, we use units of liters per 100 kilometers. This means how many liters of gas does your car take to drive 100 kilometers. Fairly straightforward, that means a lower number is better for us when we're using these units. In the United States, they use miles per gallon, which is how many miles can you drive on a gallon of gas. That is a different unit, and the idea behind that is the bigger the number, the better it is. That makes it a little bit confusing for us because in Canada, we see both numbers that are thrown about and that are advertised because we see a lot of United States commercials. That's important to remember. A higher number for miles per gallon is better. A lower number for liters per 100 kilometers is better. Let's take a look at the formula here. So fuel economy, to calculate your fuel economy, you're going to use this formula on the top here. Fuel economy is the amount of gas that you used divided by the kilometers you've traveled times 100. We often, however, want to go backwards, so we want to find out how much gas we used or would use. So we take the kilometers we traveled divided by 100 times the fuel economy. That would tell us how much gas we used to go on a drive, for example. So let's take a look at a quick example here. One of the things that you can often do is measure how much distance you went between fill-ups and how much gas you put in your car. In this case, Anna has driven 220 kilometers and used 31 liters of gas. So what would that look like? Well, here's our formula. Our fuel economy is our fuel used divided by the kilometers times 100. So plugging this in, our fuel economy is 31 liters divided by 220 kilometers times 100. Now this works out to a fuel economy of 14.09 liters per 100 kilometers. So Anna's car here has a fuel economy of 14.09 liters per 100 kilometers. A couple things to note. Make sure you're putting your units here and make sure you're giving your answer to 2 decimal places for this course. Now, is this good fuel economy? How do we know? Well, it depends on the vehicle, but this may be good fuel economy. This is sort of middle of the road. How do we compare these, however? Well, let's take a look. Fuel economy numbers for passenger vehicles often ranges from 2 liters per 100 kilometers to 30 liters per 100 kilometers. This range includes pretty much all of the passenger vehicles on the road that you see. You may have large vehicles that are much less or much worse fuel economy. However, in our case, this is the majority of the vehicles are in this range. So something like a Chevy Volt or a Tesla or something like that might have very, very good fuel economy. Electric vehicles are calculated slightly differently. They're calculated based on liters per 100 kilometers equivalent, but a Chevy Volt might get equivalent to 2.2 liters per 100 kilometers, which is very, very good. A Prius might be somewhere a little better than that, 4.5. A Honda Civic might be 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers. On the other side, the larger the vehicle, the more gas it's going to take, which makes sense. The bigger the engine, the more gas it's going to take. So a large pickup truck like a GMC Sierra 3500 might take 21 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, with miles per gallon, 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers is 30-something miles per gallon. Whereas a large truck might be something like 15 miles per gallon or less, maybe 12 miles per gallon. Liters per 100 kilometers, however, because of where we live, is a fairly useful approximation. For me, driving to the city is approximately 100 kilometers round trip. so I can use these numbers as a way to guess. Gas is about $1 a liter. Right now, it's a little bit cheaper, but in the past few years, it's been approximately $1 a liter. That means that I can use this as a rough guess to see how much it would cost me to drive to the city and back. If I were to drive a Honda Civic to the city and back, it would cost me about $6.50. If I were to drive a Ford F-150 to the city and back, it would cost me about $18. That's a pretty big difference, but that makes a really nice way of estimating how much it would cost you. And if you drive more in a vehicle that has worse fuel economy, it's going to cost you quite a bit more per month in fuel costs. I hope this has been a little bit of a help to understanding fuel economy and how it affects your costs for driving. Have a great day.